Okay, hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating to you how to draw a realistic drawing of this picture of a flower. And basically, when it comes to realistic drawing, it's applying two techniques that you've been taught during your art lessons. The first is grid technique. Okay, and the second is the five-step approach to shading and toning. Okay, so I'm going to begin by demonstrating to you how to do the grid technique. Right, now that we have the grid lines, we are going to start transferring what we see in the picture, onto our paper. Okay, and in order to do this, we are going to apply a very important fundamental rule when it comes to realistic drawing, which is you only draw what you see. Okay, so even though the picture of the flower is a very complex subject matter, okay, don't worry too much about drawing a flower. Just focus on the shapes and lines that you see, okay, and try to transfer that onto your paper. Okay, you will also notice that when I drew the grid lines, I drew them very lightly. This is so that they're easier to remove, to erase, okay, or they will just disappear when I start shading. Okay, and similarly, when I transfer the details or when I start to draw the guiding lines for the flower, okay, I'm going to keep my lines very light. Okay, the goal of this is for you to transfer as many details as you can to your drawing. Okay, so in order to do this, I will focus on one box first. Okay, I'll begin by focusing on just one box and really studying the lines and shapes that make up the picture in that box. Okay, in particular, I will pay close attention to where the shapes and lines meet the outline of the box. Okay, and I will use that as a guide, okay, to transfer onto my box on the paper. Okay, so this is to ensure that the proportions are correct, okay, which will then ensure that there's accuracy in the drawing. Okay, so now we have the guiding lines done, and you would have noticed that the drawing or the picture is fairly complex. Okay, and that is perfectly fine. I think as you are learning how to draw realistically, okay, I think it's good that you challenge yourself, okay, so that you can sharpen your observational skills. Okay, and don't worry too much about the drawing not being perfect, okay, because this is practice and you're still learning. Okay, but the key thing is, as long as you are not intentionally simplifying your drawings and you are trying your best to capture all the details, I think that's really good enough. Okay, so now that we have the guiding lines, it's time to start shading. Okay, so we are going to apply the five-step approach to shading and toning. And basically what it means is you start with the black shapes. Wherever you see black areas in your picture, okay, you color it black on your paper, okay, and you make sure that you follow the shape as closely as you can. And the reason for this is to ensure that there's contrast in the drawing. Once you have those black areas in place, you have the full range of tones already. Okay, so that makes a very good start. Okay, after that, you're supposed to shade from dark to light, okay, but I think for this picture, a picture which is quite complex, I think it's perfectly fine if you want to mix it around according to your comfort level. For me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade box by box, and I'm just going to shade whatever I see, whether it's light or dark. I'm going to shade as it comes along. Now, one very important consideration for this particular picture, and of course this applies to all pictures that you draw, of course, but you have to really look closely at the highlights. Okay, so if you recall, there are different kinds of lights and shadows on an object. And in this particular picture, it's very interesting that the highlights are actually around the edges of the petals, okay, which means that you have to keep the edges of the petals white or light gray depending on the area that you're looking at. Okay, and this is counterintuitive. For many of us, we would want to outline the petals, okay, but if you look closely at the picture, that's not what the reality tells us. Okay, so if you want to draw a realistic drawing of this picture, okay, do pay close attention to how you manage the edges of the petals and make sure that the highlights are captured accordingly in your drawing. Right, and there you have it. So this was just a very quick demonstration of how you can go about drawing a realistic drawing of any given picture, okay, using the grid technique and the 5-step approach to shading and toning. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful, okay, and that it sheds a bit more light, okay, into how you can go about drawing not just this picture but other pictures in the future. Okay, and before I go, this is just a reminder. So if this is your first time drawing this image, okay, do complete the whole picture. Okay, however, if this is something that you have been asked to redo, okay, then perhaps 4 to 5 boxes will do. Okay, just to show us that you are able to do or rather to apply the grid technique and the 5-step approach to shading and toning correctly. Okay, so I wish you all the best with the drawing. Okay, and thank you for watching.